Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special live streaming roundtable about music featuring the hosts and producers of Daily Music Headlines. I'm Tom Merritt, executive producer of DMH and moderator for today's panel. We're going to talk a bit about how and why we do Daily Music Headlines, and then we're just going to talk about some wider music topics. If you're unfamiliar, Daily Music Headlines is a 5-minute audio podcast delivered to you as a podcast in your favorite podcast app or as a flash briefing on the Amazon Echo. In that 5 minutes, we keep you up to date on the biggest stories in music across genres. So country to K-pop, heavy metal to hip hop, all right. Let's meet the panelists. I'm going to introduce each one of them, have them tell you a little bit about what they do and how they became interested in music. First off, the host of Coverville and Daily Music Headlines, the inimitable Brian Ibbott. Don't imitate him.
I can totally be imitated. It's very easy. Hello, thanks for having me. Good to be here. I'm, as Tom mentioned, host and co-writer, or one of the hosts and one of the co-writers, I should say, of the show. And I've been a music junkie since as long as I can remember, since I had a bright yellow AM/FM little radio, portable radio with back when the plugs for that were white and went in one ear. That's how old that thing was.
Wow, yeah, the single earbud,
the mono earbud, but the Apple White.
Hey, Gen Z, you really want to look nostalgic? There you go.
That's right, exactly.
Next, our producer extraordinaire, host of Daily Music Headlines, and as it happens, my wife, Eileen Rivera.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? I am the Thursday host and writer, which I'm excited about every week, and I'm happy to be here. I have been into music since I was little, and I even worked at radio for a while. So I thought I was going to be a music director, and then I didn't really like the business behind the scenes, and I thought going to shows was a lot of work. And so I just changed, and I just did video and not in tech. And, you know, I've worked at Google and blah, 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 blah. But I still love music. And every once in a while, I'm like, maybe I should have stayed in the music industry. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not quite sure about that. But I'm happy where my career has gone. And I'm happy to be able to contribute here. And I love music.
We go to a lot of concerts, too. So there's a lot of music.
Sure. I was going to get into that later. We'll
get into that later. Yeah. Also with us, one of our two producers, Hammond Chamberlin. Welcome, Hammond.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm great. I guess I got into music as a kid just because I was an only child and I had we traveled a lot, so radio is the friend that I had, really, because we moved so much, and so music became kind of a companion. And I'm here because I tend to work a lot with Brian.
We're joined at the hip.
Yeah. Nice. And someone who's joined to my hip because we work together a lot. The other of our two producers, Anthony Lemos. Welcome.
Hi. I produce when Hammond doesn't, and he produces when I have doctor's appointments, like today. I think there are two types of people in the world: those who listen to music and hear music, and those who feel music. And I am the latter. I consider guitar solo a language that I understand but cannot speak in. So that's where my love for music goes. I've always loved music since my earliest memories are music. And if there is live music to be heard, even if it's really bad, you'll see me front row.
Fantastic. I guess I did not mention my musical roots. My first 45 was Bad Company's Moving On. When I was a little kid, I would steal records from my parents. I worked starting in a radio station in 1986 that was country during the day and heavy metal at night, and worked both kinds of shifts. And I worked and also in radio and music. And as we mentioned, Eileen and I go to a lot of concerts. So that's where my music comes in. Let's talk a little bit about Daily Music Headlines itself first. It came about because I was asking Ibbott for some advice on creating a headline show about sports, which I still intend to do one of these days. And he gave me some great advice and then said, hey, if you ever want to do one about music, let me know. And I was like, that'd be great. We should do that. By the end of that weekend, we had created this show.
It was even more impressive than that, Tom, because you sent that out, said, hey, Ibbott brought up the idea of a music headline show. Would you be interested? And I don't think I've ever responded to your text faster than I did at that time. I was like, yes, definitely, all in. And by that afternoon, we had roped Scott Johnson in for some album art, and I was looking at album art on my way into an Apple interview. Like, it was a whole thing. It was a whole day, and like by the end of that day, we had most of it fleshed out. And it was just kind of the details after that.
It was super fast.
That's funny. I was in a Buc-ee's parking lot when I got your text. I was coming back from Fort Collins, and decided, you know what, I'm going to stop off at Buc-ee's and get a barbecue sandwich. And I think I had gotten the sandwich, and I'd been sitting in my car because there really isn't a lot of place to eat in a Buc-ee's, and was listening to something, music probably, and got your text and like, oh, well, how about a music show? And I think before I even left the parking lot, we had come up with the skeletal idea for the show.
So let's talk a little bit before we get to the topics of how you do the show. Just because we've got 2 producers, 2 hosts, and it's 5 minutes. Comes out every day. I'll open it up to whoever wants to talk about the makings of it.
Hammond, I'd love to, because a lot of the times, three of the 4 days that I do the show, I come into the studio with headlines already ready. I mean, I know how he and I both do it. We both have the same process. Big thanks to Feedly for doing so much of the heavy lifting of finding the stories. But Hammond, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I get up in the morning and I kind of start going through pulling interesting things, and then when Brian shows up, he goes through and we start putting the articles together, and we talk about what's important. We talk about order. We talk about the
order. Yeah.
We talk about if it really is news, or if it's like just a commentary piece or whatever it is, and how it fits in. And then we try to, put things that would be interesting, but also aren't always the same type of thing, because we want to make sure that we're trying to cover a wide swath of people.
Yeah.
And
got to represent country and rap, and not just the stuff that Hammond and I listen to, but the stuff that we usually don't listen to. And it's actually giving us kind of an education on a whole bunch of new names of musicians that I'd never know otherwise.
Well, actually, I think the best example of that was the one time we actually put a Dream Theater story in, and you had to talk me into leaving it in because I was convinced that I was being biased.
Right, right. Like, no, it's very relevant. It's a very relevant story. And we always try and end with what we call the water skiing squirrel story, which is maybe slightly humorous, anecdotal, but something that kind of is the dessert after all of the headlines before it. And
how does this compare to Eileen and Amos? How you guys approach the show?
Thursdays, I feel like are just sort of a dead day. I don't know. I feel like I'm always searching for anything, and there's probably maybe one big headline. Like today, I remember because Hammond was producing today, and I was like, because basically I try to do as much as possible the night before. And then I wake up and like whatever is breaking or anything new overnight or that I missed in the early hours of East Coast, Central, then I might add that in. But like usually there's nothing. And like this morning, again, I was like, Hammond, did I miss anything? He's like, I don't think so. And we're both like, meh. Like some days there's just like that. I feel like Thursdays are that a lot.
Mondays are usually like because you've got all the stuff that happened over the weekend. You've got concerts. You've got releases that, we didn't cover on Friday. But it's funny because you say that. I come in on Fridays, and that's where I do all the writing and recording, and I send it over to Amos to polish it up and make it sound good. I'll come up with like 8 stories, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I should check and make sure that Eileen didn't cover these on Thursday's shows. Like, oh, nope, covered.
Because there was nothing on Thursday. There was nothing. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, at least what I could do, I like to diversify as much as possible. And I personally like to front load as many female stories as possible.
Sure.
And yeah, I do have a bias to K-pop, but I try to like only make it be like something super huge or from some of the biggest groups. Or, you know, if there's really nothing, then yeah, I'm going to educate, because what else am I going to do on a Thursday if there's nothing going on? So I find that is the hard part. And then, you know, I always ask Amos, like, can you just check me on this? Can you check me on this? Because I know we had one time where, I don't know, I just messed up a story. So ever since then, I'm like, can you please check me that all the details are correct on this, that, you know, the actual article wasn't, because sometimes the article is wrong. And I've seen that, right? And I've caught some of that where I'm like, what are you talking about? There's 4 people in the band, not 6. What are you talking about? You know, and you really have to kind of pay attention, you know.
I do think it's funny that every now and then a story will get penned by Tom, and Brian and I are like, yeah, we have to put that in.
We do. You know, he's executive producer. We feel like, but it's never not relevant. It's
never just, you know.
Well, in the first days of launch, I was trying to make sure that we had a good wide variety. I was like, make sure to go against your biases, which you guys have been great about. You know, so like for Eileen, it's like, you know, yes, include K-pop, but look for country, look for metal, and all of that thing. And for Ibbott and Hammond, it's different biases, right? And so I would mark things every once in a while, like, oh, they may not realize that this one seems important, so let me put it in. These days, I don't do that anymore. What happens is I'm preparing for Daily Tech News Show, and if a music story bubbles up into the tech news, I'm like, well, it obviously is big. Let me just mark that. So.
Yeah.
Well, now we don't need to pay attention anymore, Brian.
Oh, good. Yeah, good to know. Yes. That's all I
and then
took
I
out
just
of that
pick
too.
up the phone and scream at you the next time.
For your badge and your gun, give it on my desk. Yeah.
For my part, I have two very different experiences with the show, because on Thursday, I come downstairs. I'm in Alaska, so I'm the last one to wake up. I'm the outcast here. You know, if we had an evening show, I'd be all over it. But having a daily morning show is, you know, the edge of my abilities. So I sit down, and Eileen's gotten everything written down. And I basically just go through and grammar check and sense check and
time
check.
Yeah.
You know, I do those kind of things for her. And we kind of massage the stories a little bit for either for time or for details or whatever. But I'm a good balance for Eileen, because I don't like K-pop. So if there's too much K-pop, I'll tell her, like, hey, we've got 3 of them in here today, you know.
That's never happened before.
It's never happened. But then on Fridays, I get what I thought was Brian's raw feed. He screwed up this last week and gave me some of his double breaths, so I know he does some editing before he sends it to me.
Oh no, really? No, actually, I don't think I did. I don't ever give you
belching into the microphone.
Yeah. No way. I'm too lazy to do any editing on the last stuff I send you.
But yeah, I get it from Brian. He's usually got a nice little quip in there for me, and it's kind of like the highlight of my Friday mornings. And go in there and massage that out and just make sure it's all nice in one piece, and, you know, there's no major errors. Like one time we caught an error, and he had to go back to the house real quick and do a quick recording and send it to me.
Yeah.
One time I had to edit something out just where that one little detail wasn't there.
Right.
But yeah, it's completely different process, because it's you know, pre-recorded versus recording with me, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, Gotham Heights wants to know how to get the show. Go search for it. Daily Music Headlines. Look in your podcatcher, or as I mentioned at the top of the show, Amazon Echo. You can have it be a flash briefing. That's actually how I usually consume it. I get up in the morning, I'm feeding the dog, I'm feeding myself, I'm listening to my Amazon Flash briefing, and it comes up, and I'm like, oh, look at that. There's the Daily Music Headlines. All right, let's get to our first music topic for today. Ibbott, you suggested we talk about this one. Is there a band or artist that you hated when you were younger that you've grown to appreciate in your later years?
Yes. This is something that's kind of been a benefit of doing Coverville, which is a podcast all about cover songs. If you haven't heard about it, it is a great way to discover somebody's library without listening to their music directly. You hear it, maybe even from a band that you like. You'll hear a cover of a song, and then you'll go search out the original, hear that artist, and then explore from there. My stepdad was a huge Bob Dylan fan. Listened to Bob Dylan all the time, and my young ears, I know this is going to sound like blasphemy, but my young ears just didn't like his reedy little voice and his weird cadence and delivery and stuff like that. And I feel like I owe him an apology as an adult, because not only do I appreciate his music a lot more right now these days, but even his voice, like, it's like I can hear the years in his voice, and it's like the wrinkles on somebody's face. Every wrinkle tells a different story, and it's every rasp in his voice adds a different timbre to it, and I just love it. And that's an artist that, boy, just couldn't get me to listen to as a kid, and turn around and love him now.
Yeah. No, I had a similar experience with Dylan, where when I was a kid, I didn't get it. It's not so much that I hated it, I just didn't get it.
Yeah. Probably.
What about you, Eileen?
It's not about their music, it's about their appearance. But when I was a kid, I did not like the band Kiss. They scared me. It was the appearance.
Yeah.
And I remember people dressed up my parents were taking me to the beach, and I remember somebody dressed up as Gene Simmons, and he looked at our
On the
car
beach?
and I was like, ugh, scary. But as I've grown older, I'm not a Kiss fan or anything, but I can appreciate their legacy in rock and roll history and what they've done and their mark and their staging and all of that now. But as a kid, I was like, no, they're scary. They're even as I got older, I was like, even without the makeup, I was like,
oh yeah,
Simmons.
scarier.
I don't
without
like,
the makeup.
Yeah. So that group to me, as an adult now, I can be like, oh yeah, they did what they were doing, and they're fine. Even though I don't know if Gene Simmons is still trying to hire interns for his tour and have them pay to be his lackey, which that's weird. A story I covered, I was like, what is this? So yeah, that band for me is that's the first one that I thought of. I don't know why. I'm
That's a
sure
good
there's
one.
others.
Yeah.
I really couldn't think of any group or artist that I truly hated that I like now. I'm going to keep thinking about it. Maybe it'll come to me.
Too strong a word, but
Okay. Yeah.
Include like Tom's, didn't get it or didn't appreciate
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't like Kiss's makeup either, but it was more because I just don't like clowns, and it was in the same category for me. Yeah. So when they dropped the makeup, I was like, okay, I can deal with them. And then now I appreciate the music, makeup or not.
I don't like black and white drumming cats, and
That's mighty specific of you.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about foxes.
Oh.
Right, the replacement, very good.
Yeah. For me, it took me a long time to come up with one, because I was raised in a very diverse musical house. My parents, my dad was at the Monterey Pop Festival, and my mom was a big R&B and musical and classical music listener. So I was a huge spread of music. But I finally landed on one, and it was Frank Zappa. And it took me a really, really long time to understand that what Frank was doing was important and cool and interesting. And when I was younger, even up through college, like, okay, this is just, I just don't know what he's up to. This doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And it's only been since we covered him on Soundography that I actually have like a real understanding of what his whole life work was.
Yeah.
And now I get it. But before, it's a tough pill to swallow.
It is. It's kind of like Brian Eno, for example, like very far out there, and unless you know what to listen for, you won't appreciate it. You won't enjoy it as much. Very experimental, and yeah.
Amos, who have you stopped hating?
So I was originally going to go with the Beatles, because as a child I just didn't appreciate them, and I appreciate them much more now. But more specifically, the Cranberries. I hated the Cranberries all through high school.
Wow.
And then one day,
The band, not the fruit.
the band, yeah. And one day I was watching it was kind of like a behind the music sort of thing, but it was on a bunch of different bands just of a certain time period. And they went and they covered the Cranberries and how they came around and all that, and how Dolores O'Riordan had a very specific training that she brought into the Cranberries. And I realized that the part of Dolores's voice I didn't like was the traditional part she was bringing in, the yodel, the croning or whatever. And I didn't re-listen to the Cranberries for that reason, but I did eventually hear them again. And now I absolutely love the Cranberries. Like every time I hear another song by them, that one thing that used to make me so cringe is now like this legacy. Of course, Dolores left us a few years ago, but it's like this little legacy of her traditional singing that she came up with that I actually appreciate now, as opposed to being turned off by it before.
It's amazing how context and things you learn can change your appreciation of anything, especially music. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be me, the Cranberries, specifically Dolores O'Riordan.
All right. Let's get to our next topic from Eileen. Is there an artist that gained your loyalty even more after seeing them live?
Okay, so for me, you're going to think I'm going to say BTS. That's not true. I've always been loyal. But
couldn't have been more loyal.
Me,
my loyalty.
I've always been loyal. So I worked at a adult contemporary rock station and in my 20s. And prior to working there, I just liked pop music. Pop music was my thing. Top 40, loved that stuff, right? And then I started working at a radio station called KFOG in the Bay Area, and I learned all about other groups outside of just, yes, they played the Beatles, but like Zeppelin, I learned about other rock groups, adult contemporary groups at the time. It was in the 90s, and I was able to go to a lot of shows for free. And the artist that I was like, oh yeah, he's pretty good. Is pretty good. I like his stuff. I only know the 80s stuff, the Born in the USA stuff. When I saw Bruce Springsteen live in late 90s, and he had the full E Street Band with him, I was like forever changed. Like I just became like, I'm like, why did I not know that he was this genius? And the energy that he had on stage and the delivery of all his songs, like it just felt like such a complete look at his discography and his joy of music at the time when I watched him. And I was forever changed after that. I was like, this man is a living legend, and I'm so glad that I'm alive to see him perform. And I'm so glad that I got to see this show. I saw him at the Oakland Arena, and it was like, I don't know how long the show was long. He's he's legendary for performing forever. Yeah. But I was like, this is great. Keep going. And he was never tired. And I knew he was great, but I didn't think he was. I was like, yeah, it's not, your thing is cool. But then I was like, oh no, he is great. And I can't say that I listened to his music nonstop after that, but I just became more appreciative of his contribution to music than ever before. And so every time I see something about Bruce, I'm like, oh, what's he doing now? Cool. He was on stage. Oh, he was doing that. So
just released 7 brand new albums.
7 brand. What is he doing? Yeah. And how old is he? Like, wow, he just keeps going as if I'm like, it was like 20 years ago when I saw him, and I'm like, he's like, doesn't stop. So I just have this positive view of him and the working class, people that he represented at the time in his music. And so I just, he's got some good vibes for me now. And that's the guy for me, or that's the artist for me.
What was his name again?
Oh, his name is Bruce Springsteen. He's from Jersey. Okay. Yeah.
I hear he's the boss of something. He's
the boss. Yeah, you're right. He's the boss of so many things, apparently. Yeah. I'm even more impressed that his name is The Boss. It's like, oh, he's the boss? Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
That's a good one.
I think he's a nice boss too. I don't think he's an a-hole boss.
He seems like he'd be a good boss. Yeah.
I think he'd be a good boss. There's others out there that you think you're like, oh, you know what? They may not be a good boss, even though you like their music.
Yeah.
The aforementioned
I'm learning.
Gene
I'm
Simmons,
learning.
for example.
Frank Sinatra.
We were all thinking it. One of us was going to say it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ibbott, what about you? Is there an artist that seeing them live changed your loyalty and you're like, I love these guys now? Or
For
these
sure.
ladies?
Yeah. And this happened last year. And you, or no, I'm sorry, it happened earlier this year, I should say.
Oh,
Oh, I thought you were
And
going to talk about when I took you to a concert.
Well, I did appreciate Dream Theater.
appreciate.
He appreciates
nap I ever
Hammond.
had.
Now he went to a concert with Hammond. Yeah.
Changed his loyalty. He was not loyal to Hammond before.
Completely changed my loyalty. No, earlier this year, I was given a ticket to see Dead and Company at the Sphere in Vegas, or Sphere in Las Vegas. And prior to that, never have seen any iteration of the Grateful Dead. I owned the greatest hits and a couple of cover album tributes, one of which dedicated is a fantastic cover album if you can find it. But I was a greatest hits kind of fan, and I was given a ticket to the show and was happy to go because it was at Sphere, and I wanted to see what a show was like at Sphere. We'd seen a movie there the previous year. So got up there and started watching, and they opened with a cover, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I know that song. And then 3.5 hours went by, and then they finally played a song I recognized. Yet, even with that,
Wow.
I would still call it one of the 5 greatest concerts I've ever been to.
Wow.
Because experiencing this music that you don't know, everybody around me knew, everybody around me is grooving to it. Some people around me had been the previous night, and knowing how much those tickets are to Sphere, I'm amazed that somebody could go more than one night a week. But and I got talking to them, and I said, so the Sphere, like, you've got the visuals there around you, and you've got the band. How much of the show is the same night after night? Because those things have to be timed. Those things have to be produced, the graphics and stuff. They said, actually, only about 30% of the show uses the same visuals, and all of the songs are different. They don't, you can go to a Dead and Company show 7 nights in a row and you won't hear the same song. They intentionally like sprinkle in the hits, but also have a lot of deep cuts. And the way the Sphere visuals work, that I'm using a lowercase t for the Sphere, the visuals. It's a lot of it is procedurally generated. So even like the very beginning, you're in the Hyde-Ashbury district, and you kind of take off like a drone, and you go into the sky, and you go into space, and then you're looking at Earth and blah, blah, blah. But all the stuff that's in the middle is procedurally generated. So you've got some visuals there of like the little acid bear from the little acid stamp bear, all kind of warping around to make a little John Mayer in the middle of it, like a live shot of John Mayer. And
and for anybody who doesn't know, this is the successor band to the Grateful Dead, right?
It is. I'm sorry. Yes, I should clarify. Yes, with no Jerry Garcia. I think I couldn't even remember if it's still Phil Lesh that is still kind of they're not fronting, but kind of holding this version together. Yeah. Or is it Bob Weir? It's one of the two. Phil Lesh or
Bob Weir, Mickey Hart, and Bill Kreutzmann, along with John
go.
Mayer, Otel Burbridge, and Jeff Chimente.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Incredible show though. And since then I've actually listened to people's playlists of subsequent nights while I'm in the car, while I'm working. I'll just have a playlist of the studio versions of all the songs they played the night after the show that I saw. Just to hear
interesting.
and that sort of thing. So new appreciation for the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. So are you going to go to all the shows now?
No, I am not. That is the extent. I fully appreciate them.
Had to ask.
Yes. If a free show, if I would have gotten tickets to the 60th anniversary thing they did in San Francisco where they sold legal weed at the concert for the first time ever at a Grateful Dead show.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted legal weed, but it would have been great to be there at that 60th anniversary show. I would have gone, but no, that's probably going to be the extent of my live Dead experience.
Hammond, which artist gave you legal weed to win your loyalty?
Actually, it wasn't that at all. Mine happened when I was younger. It was in 1990. It was New Year's Eve, 1990. And my parents lived in Japan, and we went to the Big Egg in Tokyo, and we saw let's see, Hanoi Rocks, Loudness, and then it was Don Henley, Brian Adams, and Huey Lewis.
Wow.
That's,
It was just,
What a combo.
yeah, it was.
Remember when I
wow.
said I worked at a heavy metal station at night? We played the first half of that.
And and Steve Stevens, that was the other one that was there. Anyway, like
The first song was "Where's Everybody Going?"
So I understood, I understood the Eagles, but I didn't understand Don Henley. Don Henley sat behind the drums with a microphone on, played drums, and sang his entire set. And I was so impressed by that because
Yeah.
having him be a frontman was one thing, but having him sit behind and sing and not sound winded, not sound like he was trying to count or anything, he sat there and sang behind the drum set the entire show. And I was really impressed by that. And I've always really been impressed by that kind of skill since then because I understand what it takes. And so, yes, I was a fan of Huey Lewis. Brian Adams is Brian Adams. That's fine. But what really stood out was Don Henley and his performance that night.
Wow, that's great. I'm more jealous that you got to see Loudness in person myself, but
That guy had a voice on him. That really he had a voice.
Okay, so we got Bruce Springsteen, we got The Dead, we got Don Henley. Amos, which classic rock artist won your loyalty by seeing them live?
Not classic rock.
It's Pavarotti.
Yeah. Sometimes there's an artist that has a very distinguished career that you keep track of, and you enjoy the hits and you enjoy some of the deeper cuts, but you don't really celebrate the artist. They're just kind of there. And then you go to the concert and you get it. You feel why people are so into them. That's what happened to me last November in Toronto watching Taylor Swift. I was completely blown. 3 hours and 45 minutes. There was nary an intermission. It just kept going. The energy was high the entire time. This is her last of 6 nights in the city. It was towards the end of the tour, and she was like she just drank an energy drink every single time she came on stage. The graphics were amazing. The energy of the crowd was ridiculously awesome. It was great. It was really, really awesome. And it was at the point where I would listen to her hits and be like, okay, I like this song. This is good. Now I'm at the point where I'm digging deeper into the catalog, and I'm not finding anything I don't like. Everything is awesome. And I know it's all tinged by the fact that I had such a great experience at her concert during that 3 hours and 45 minutes. And
Again, another one that flies by, right?
yeah, a pop star that has not just one, 2 live bands, a live band on each side of the stage. And I'm not saying it was 2 full live bands, but enough of a live band that they had what looked like a full band on one side and a full band on the other. So probably 95% of the music was played live, other than the stuff that really had to be synced and everything else. But yeah, it was ridiculous. It was so good.
So funny story about Taylor Swift. When Brian and I were in Denver to see Dream Theater, Taylor Swift was playing at Mile High Stadium that night.
Yeah.
And when we were on the train going into town, you could definitely tell who was going to which show.
It was basically like Union Station had the two, it was like the Jets and the Sharks kind of crossing, like Shibuya crossing at each other. And where they joined, it was Blackpink is what happened right there.
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I'm going to go with the more recent artist, the classic rocker Taylor Swift.
The classic rocker.
Yeah.
Rocker.
Well, it is interesting how you all have someone against type, which I guess is the nature of the question, right? Because it said it changed your opinion, but it's not an artist that you would guess. Like I wouldn't have guessed Ibbott was into the Dead. I wouldn't have guessed Hammond would have picked Don Henley, and certainly I actually would have guessed Taylor Swift because I know Amos has told me about going to that concert. But prior to that, then I wouldn't have guessed that either. So.
What about you, Tom? What's yours?
I was thinking about how I'd answer this. I'm tempted to be all hipster and be like, well, when I lived in Austin in the 90s, all I did was see live bands and I was loyal to those because I saw them live, which is all true. But I'll be honest, the one that pops into mind more recently, and it's not changed me from not liking them, but I only knew Twice because Eileen played the Feels on repeat during COVID. And I was like,
Fancy.
or was it Fancy? Sorry, I can't believe I said the wrong track. Fancy on repeat.
I still like the other song.
Yeah. And I also had discovered a song from them that was a Japanese song that I liked. So when we went to see the concert, I was like, oh, I'll like this. And we saw them at the Forum, and it was a great show. But when we saw them the second time at BMO Stadium, I was in a medley of their songs and just lost in the music, having the time of my life, forgetting all my troubles, forgetting all my cares. And I realized that. I'm like, oh, I'm not enjoying this because I'm here. I'm just in it. Like, I'm just having a good time. And it really made me go like, I will never hesitate at seeing Twice, because I've seen them again since and had the same experience where it's just like carries me away. So I that is a group where I like, it's not that I didn't like them. I like them, but I know that I will always have a good time seeing one of their shows.
Nice.
That's great.
All right. Hammond brought up this topic. How do you decide what to buy? How do you decide what to buy as physical media, digital, and just stream? And then how completist do you go in collecting?
Yeah, so this one for me is a big deal because when we were younger, I had an enormous collection of music, and it was multiple bands. Yeah, everything from Blues Traveler and Dave Matthews through all the Megadeth, all the Metallica, all the Dream Theater, all the things. Michael Hedges. I covered all the bases. I had so many areas that I had music.
Were you into
stowed
Dream
away.
Theater?
Yeah, I was. So I have started paring down, one, because of space, two, because of money, three, because there's just, you can only own so many things and listen to so many things. So I've been doing a lot of curating my own collections. And so, I figured this was a good question because like now they have those, those deluxe box sets that Metallica is releasing. I've got all of those. I've got a whole bunch of Dream Theater, shockingly. So, it's just it. And then like with Ghost, I really like Ghost, and I own a couple of physical items, but mostly with him, I'm buying the digital stuff. So it's not a matter of not liking. It's just a matter of where am I going to put the physical space to use.
And have you changed why you buy physical at this point? Is it?
Yeah. I have. It's not just because I want to own it, because I can get anything I want to listen to. This is because I want to have something tangible because of the way I feel when I'm looking at and holding the thing. Like the Metallica box sets, I'm flipping through, looking at these old pictures. I'm looking at, just holding the items for the money. And sometimes I really need that or want that, and other times I don't. So like with the Ghost, I just want to listen and enjoy. But with Metallica, I want to actually be a part of it and hold the thing.
What about you, Ibbott? Do you? I wouldn't guess you even buy physical media, do you?
I very rarely now. Yeah, it's it has to be one of my very favorite bands. Like I'll buy Crowded House, I'll buy Squeeze or any iteration, Glenn Tilbrook, Chris Difford solo stuff, and Divine Comedy. Those are pretty much it. Like unless there's some kind of like what Hammond described, unless there's some box set that's got content that I'm not going to get, some other way. It's either, and it's really either, it's kind of the two extremes. If I don't buy the physical, then I'm probably not buying digital and I'm just going to stream it. As I've got an iTunes library, or I'm sorry, an Apple Music library that is too large to synchronize right now. And I'm trying to pare it down to get under that 100,000 track limit so that I can come back to having the music synchronized on my devices. Right now, if I try to like something, it says, "Oh, turn on Apple Music Match." Oh, you can't because you have more than 100,000 songs in your library.
Wow.
It's
you broke Apple Music Sync.
It's exactly. It's Nedry going.
It is sunk.
Yeah.
It is Apple Music sunk and not synced.
Yeah.
It's sunk. Yes, exactly. So,
what's the last physical media you bought then for music?
It would be a box set from the Divine Comedy that was a all of their albums re-released in a box set where the album is the it's not in a jewel case, it's in a like cardboard thing that looks like the original vinyl record album, and then comes with a second CD of bonus material, a full CD of bonus material, as long as the regular album. So double the amount of music that I had from them. And that was the last thing I bought. And I think that was a Pledge Music or a Kickstarter or something.
Oh, Pledge.
I know. Let's pour one out for Pledge Music. Yeah.
Well, Eileen, I know there's a whole physical media thing to explain with you. So where do you want to start?
Okay. It's first of all, prior to K-pop did not buy physical media. I mean, I can't even remember what it'd been years, since like the, 45s back in the day. And I just listened to streaming. I love streaming. I listen to my primary way of listening is through Spotify, just because they know me. But I've been listening to more on Apple Music, and there's always YouTube. I always listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube. But it was always streaming until K-pop, and then I started buying physical media. And they look like these. This is the latest live album from BTS that just came out. And then K-pop gets really creative, because this is actually the last album that I bought.
Oh, that's cool.
This is a keychain, but in it, oh my gosh, this is so hard to open.
These
Basically,
RF things.
here we go. Yeah, the RF things. So you download it. This counts on Billboard, by the way. You download the app, and then you scan this little CD, and it's not one song. It's not just Dynamite from BTS. It's actually 21 songs that you get from BTS. And the cool thing is that you don't know what you're going to get. When you buy one of these, it's like a blind box. There's like 21 versions, which includes not all of the discography, but the latest albums of BTS and the solo albums from each of the members before they went into the military. So there's 21 versions of these. And so, collectors are like, I just want to get all 21. And then you get dupes and whatever. So it's really cool. This is a really cool way to collect. This is new. But yeah, cool. I had started buying other K-pop artists that I enjoyed, but now I've stopped. I've stopped entirely because there's just no room. And I'm only going to dedicate my time to these guys. But
just like Tom reaching behind and pulling stuff off the shelves.
Exactly.
It runs in the family.
Everything's within arm's reach.
There are smaller albums. Now, this is a BTS member, so that's not fair. But there are smaller albums called Weverse albums. Like they're kind of. Oh, I lost everybody by hitting a.
We're still
button
here.
Sorry, I know.
We're still here.
Anyway, they're not as like cool as this, but they're packaged in like smaller ways that you can just it's a digital version. You get photo cards, you get stuff like that, you get pictures and things like that. That it's not as ginormous as if you buy one of these and you get all the inclusions. In here, there's like a 50-page photo book, there's photo cards, there's lyric sheets, there's so many things. You do get a lot for your money but how often do I look at this? Like not much, right? So you get like a smaller version of it, and it can not take up space. So I do, if I'm going to support another group outside of BTS, I might buy a smaller version like this. And the other reason why is that during COVID, I got into collecting like other K-pop, like there are sports cards you could buy. I buy photo cards of my favorite members. And I collect, this is all 7 of them for this for this latest album here.
Do you put your bias in the first slot?
No, not.
You put them in
I
numerical
don't.
order?
I put them in the order of it's the fan chant. So basically, you start with the leader who's RM, and then you go in age order after that. And my bias is the youngest, so he's always at the end. But so I started collecting these, and I used to be like heavily collecting like 2 to 3 years ago, and now I've kind of just slowed down. Like if I don't get all the cards, that's fine. I don't care.
It doesn't keep you up at night anymore.
No, I'm not like on Mercari or eBay, like searching, like who's got cheap? Are they real? Are they fake? And I know other genres, like I know other people do this in other like Pokemon cards and all. There's so many different types of ways to collect. I went down the K-pop route, but I am loyal only now for reasons of space and money to one group, and other groups I'll support in other ways. So
Okay, so you're not going to go out and get the Cat's Eye tiny vinyl that comes
I
out.
did not get anything Cat's Eye related. I love Cat's Eye. We're going to go see them in concert, but and that's what I do is like I decide like, you know what, if I really like them, I'm going to go see them in concert because I get the double experience. I love live shows so much that I'd rather have that, and then I'll listen to their stuff digitally. I don't need another box that I'm going to need to put somewhere and that I don't appreciate as much because I'm not as big of a fan. So I know that they need my help, but I'll support them if I really like them through live shows, and streaming. But that's about it. But yeah, these things are like, this is, I really had to slow down because like, quite honestly, guys, like it's in binders like this.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great.
Binders.
And when you buy a CD, you get one of
card.
the photo cards.
Well, that was
For
okay.
some groups, yeah.
This group, okay, for BTS, that was like that for years, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, really? There's 7 of them. Really, you only get one? They gave us 3 this time. So I think they're being nicer moving forward because it's like they don't want, I mean, I'm not the worst of it. There are so many other fans that buy like hundreds of copies just to get, you know, the complete set or whatever, you know, or the member that they really want, which at some point you just got to go, I like whoever I get, I'm happy with, because it's expensive. It can get really expensive. And
which is the point.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Oh,
For
to
them
get
to sell a bunch of,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
Amos, how many Taylor Swift CDs have you bought this year?
The last 3 physical media I bought were all Metallica.
Oh, okay.
The Load collection that Hammond was talking about that just came out last month. I got that. Right before that was the Black Album collector's box. I bought that. All the ones previous to that I missed out on because Hammond didn't bother telling me about them. And I'm not going to spend upwards of retail for them. So I guess I'm just going to get that one and probably the next one, and that'll probably be it. Because those are my 3 favorite albums, really, from my teen years, anyway. And then the third thing the last one that I bought was Death Magnetic when it came out on CD, which was 2014 or so.
Yeah. I have the coffin box of Death Magnetic.
See?
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so I'm not really doing physical media. I used to be a completionist. I wanted everything on CD, every album that all my artists did on CD. Then I took a CD pack of 100 CDs with me to deployment, and it disappeared during that deployment. And I stopped collecting CDs after that point because I've just got a bunch of jewel cases for CDs that I no longer have.
Oh, geez.
They're all, somebody in Turkey is really enjoying a whole lot of 90s rock and alternative. But yeah, so I don't really, but I stream a lot. I don't really buy anything. It's all streaming for me.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat as Eileen. I stopped buying physical media. I was buying physical media for artists on Kickstarter when I wanted to support them. Right. So like on Jonathan Colton, for example, I would buy his media. I also buy vinyl sometimes because we have a nice record player that we bought not too long ago. So I will occasionally buy like Silk Sonic. We bought the vinyl of that. But we also buy K-pop on vinyl. And my problem is that I buy every Liz Seraphim release on CD. So that's
great.
That fills up my shelves. Let's move on to Amos's last topic here. How many albums in this age of streaming single songs do you still listen to front to back? And he wrote annually. And what are they? So Amos, we'll start with you. Do you listen to any albums front? Like I'm going to listen all the way through front to back. None of this shuffle stuff.
I have 4. Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Matchbox 20, Mad Season.
You lost me.
Well, I'm about to lose other people here. Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar.
Oh, nice.
I'm back.
And then, I'm going to count this as listening because I watch it as well, but I've done it at least twice a year since 5 years ago. The Hamilton soundtrack, the original.
Oh,
Hamilton
that's
soundtrack.
the one. I'm with that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's amazing.
So those are my 4. I guarantee I've listened to every year since they've been released, all the way through. No, like if I stop it, the next time I'm listening to music, I just carry from that point on and finish it. Yeah, Beastie Boys, that album has carried me through so many things. Mad Season carried me through a divorce. Antichrist Superstar is like my own little guilty pleasure because the creativity that he took on that is like the epitome of industrial rock in my mind. It's so good, so gritty, and the topics are just like gnarly. And then Hamilton's just fun, and it's just so
soundtracks
fun.
are a great example of this. Yeah, was listening to Matchbox 20 the thing that caused the divorce?
No,
Was it Nickelback? Nickelback?
I'm totally kidding. No, soundtrack albums, especially ones like that are a through line as opposed to just a collection of songs, are a great example of that. Rent, for me, I'll listen to the 2-disc soundtrack of Rent at least once a year, straight through, start to finish.
All right. Well, there you go. There's Ibbott's answer. Do you have another one to add to that?
Squeeze's East Side Story is one that works as a full album. It was originally, here's a little bit of trivia for you. It was originally supposed to be a double album, 4 sides, and each side was going to be produced by a different artist. Elvis Costello was going to produce one side, Nick Lowe was going to produce another side, Paul McCartney was going to produce another side, and I can't remember who the fourth one was, but it was going to be 4 different producers, 4 different sides of the album. The plan got scrapped. This is the album, by the way, that has a couple of Squeeze's biggest hits on it, including Tempted, which was, arguably one of them, if not their biggest hit. It's certainly one of them. And it kind of got scrapped and then just kind of jumbled into it. So you've got a lot of a couple Elvis Costello produced tracks, no Paul McCartney produced tracks. But just kind of a melange of a couple of those different artists. But that one still works well as a start to finish non-concept album through line.
Hammond, what about you?
I've got a few. I think the oldest one is the soundtrack to the musical Chess.
Is that One Night in Bangkok? Is
yes,
that on there?
Yeah, One Night in Bangkok is my absolute favorite song of all time. When I was in 6th grade, 7th grade, I made a mixtape that was just One Night in Bangkok for 90 minutes, back to back to back, that I just listened to on repeat.
That's why you're so humble.
Yeah. So that one, then Operation Mindcrime, I will still put on headphones, turn off the lights, and listen to front to back at least twice a year. Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater, their concept album, which is very much pulled from the concept is very much pulled from Dead Again. That's kind of the loose idea of it. And then Spock's Beard 5, I listen to on the regular, back to front. And then the newest one is an album called Mythologies. It's a contemporary classical piece by Danae Vlas. And I love that album. It's such a great album. And I probably, since it came out, and I think it was 21, I think I have listened to that at least 3 or 4 times a year. It's just great.
Good,
all right, Eileen, any albums that you listen to front to back?
Well, I mean, the last one that I listened to, this is a live album, so it's from the concert, BTS's Permission to Dance. So really, to me, the way to listen to it is from top to bottom, because that's the experience of the show. But apart from, I was just thinking, I was like, oh, I just happen to have one. But prior to that, if an artist asks you to listen to it top to bottom, I'll do it likely the first time. Will I do it again? I don't know that I will. I might do it again, like if I remember, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to start from top to bottom.
As a matter of consequence.
Yeah.
Like he just happens to play the whole way through.
But there's not an album you go back to and every year you say, like, gotta listen to this album front to back.
I mean, the only album that I can think of for me is, RM, the leader of BTS. He wants you to listen to his albums from top to bottom. So if I listen to his album, I will listen to it from top to bottom. He's the only one who's really, please listen to it from top to bottom. Okay, I'm listening. I feel like I like I've been told, like, you have to do it. I'm like, okay.
And I tell him he's not the boss of me, and do it backward.
That's right.
Maybe I should. Maybe he wouldn't mind if I did listen to it backwards, because that would be a different experience. But I try.
I try. Eminem's last album was conceptually different if you listen to the tracks in reverse order.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So on one side, he's slowly going mad and trying to get rid of all the bad and everything else. But if you listen to it backwards, the basically it goes to where he's sinking further into the Eminem character, and going further away from humanity and more into the harsh rap and the angry sputterings and things like that. It works either way. It's designed to be Eminem coming out of that phase.
That's interesting. Yeah,
but you go back to front, and the songs still make sense. They still refer to each other in a way that
it's like Tenet for music.
I was gonna say it's like Memento.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like an artist would be okay with that. Like, oh, well, you're still listening to everything, just the backwards. Like, I don't feel like somebody who asked you to listen from top to bottom wouldn't be offended. They'd be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're still doing it. It just backwards.
It really makes sense that Eminem's first concept album would be one that you could listen to frontwards or backwards.
Yeah.
If you play Marilyn Manson backwards, he says, join the LDS Church.
That makes sense.
The album, The Completion Backwards Principle by the Tubes, actually includes a narrator at the very beginning that says, for the best enjoyment of this album, please listen to both sides in one sitting. And then it goes right into Talk to You Later, one of the Tubes' biggest hits.
Well, and then there's that album the Flaming Lips did that it's 4 CDs that have to be played at the same time.
Oh, right. Like anyone's got the technology to play 4 CDs simultaneously.
Yeah, I did when it came out. I was that guy. But it's a bizarre experience because everybody listens to it. It's different.
He had his CD on the rack stereo, and then he had the one in the boom box, and he had the portable one. And then he played one on the computer.
Yeah, and I ran it to a 4-track recorder and listened to the whole thing.
Oh, cool.
Cheater.
So you recorded, so you wouldn't have to do that. Go through that process ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did it once with the 4-track, and then I'm like, well, at least I did that, so at least I have it. And it was a very bizarre experience.
That's clever. It's
one thing goes off sync, and your whole day's ruined. It's like, this doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
All right. Well, this was really fun. I hope people, we got a lot of people watching live. I hope people watch this on demand as well. Thanks for watching, and go find Daily Music Headlines in wherever fine podcasts are vended, on the Amazon Echo Flash Briefing, or dailymusicheadlines.com. And that'll give you the links to add to your podcatcher as well. Round the horn. Let's all say goodbye. Starting with you, Amos. If folks want to follow what you do, where should they go?
Just Daily Tech News Show. Just
or Daily Music Headlines. Yeah.
Or Daily Music Headlines. Either way, because I'm a social media consumer at this point.
Gotcha.
I don't put it out there because every time I do, people get mad, and I don't want to deal with it.
Hammond, what about you?
Kind of J Hammond C everywhere on the internet. I do soundography and be on the playlist outside of Daily Music Headlines.
Yep. Eileen Rivera.
You can find me here on Instagram, Eileen R, or FaceOfE on Instagram or on TikTok. FaceOfE.
Fantastic. So. Go follow. Brian Ibbott, Coverville, and what else?
At Coverville. So shows the morning stream every weekday morning, along with Daily Music Headlines 4 days a week. Soundography once a week with Hammond. Film Sack once a week. If you search for Brian Ibbott online, you will find all my podcasts.
Fantastic. And you can find me at Ace Detect, if you can spell it, wherever fine social medias are had. And of course, dailytechnewsshow.com, tommerritt.com, freetomnewsletter.com. We'll see you later. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Say the tagline, Eileen and Ibbott.
On the flip side.
Thanks for listening.